Everyone in person. We have a large online audience as well. You guys are right here on our Owl device. If you have any questions throughout the program, Bree or Isma here in the front, not for you guys, for our online audience, is going to be running the virtual Zoom. So if you've got questions or have any tech issues, go ahead and message her. And then our presenter is going to be sharing his screen with you, so you'll be able to follow along with us just as well as the folks in person. But before we kick it off, I just wanted to thank everyone for being here today at the Small Business Solutions Hub program. These are quarterly programs that are designed as part of our business growth initiative to connect our business community with resources they need to help your business grow. And that can look like figuring out your succession planning if you joined us in April. It can look like how to write your natural disaster plan for businesses if you joined us in January. We've had programs about working with attorneys, about working with construction contractors, really all of the above, a wide range of services reflecting a wide range of business and industry needs that our Springfield Area Chamber of Commerce represents. So welcome, you're in the right place. We're going to be talking today about AI and how to make it work for you and on your team and create efficiencies in your workplace. A big thank you to all of the sponsors who make these programs possible. Our impact investors, these folks who are supporting this kind of work all year round. Our Small Business Solutions Hub sponsors and advertisers who are featured on our digital hub, where these programs, is being recorded, by the way, will be posted in our Small Business Solutions Hub library online. We'll send a link to you out after the program. That includes Ask Eric IT. Eric is in the room with us. Thank you, Eric. All things IT, cybersecurity, and AI. Chat with him. Chambers Construction, got Debbie in the room. They have a small projects division that is great for businesses looking to do remodels or work with construction folks. Eugene area radio stations for all your advertising needs. Hirschner Hunter Attorneys. Insight Research Labs, just marketing research. Oregon Community Credit Union and WaFed Bank are all sponsors of the digital hub. And then a thank you as well to today's program sponsor, IEQ Technology, for the lunch today provided by Chick-fil-A. And then finally, a big thank you to our Small Business Solutions Hub title sponsor, Kaiser Permanente, for their support of our small business growth initiative at the Chamber and the Small Business Solutions Hub since inception. And I think 2018 or 19 when we started this. You guys have been a big supporter of this program. So if you all can help me welcome up Kyle Armstead, who's the local manager and representative of Kaiser, to say a few words of welcome from our sponsor.
Thank you all. It's a pleasure to be here. Good afternoon. My name is Kyle Armstead, and I apologize. I am a notes reviewer. I'm not a great public speaker, so apologize. I'll be referring to my phone. So I am a sales executive here at Kaiser Permanente, and it's a pleasure to be here today. We know that AI is truly transforming how we do business in the healthcare space. It's being used for diagnostic and imaging, helping our doctors tailor and personalize our treatment plans, virtual health assistants like chatbots, operational efficiency, and much more. I look forward to learning more from Mr. Cary about the possibilities of AI and how it can give us a business advantage. Before turning it over to the stars of the session, I wanted to share some exciting updates from our care teams at Kaiser Permanente. Over the past year, we have hired providers at Chase Gardens Medical Office. We now have 12 clinicians on site, and we are accepting new patients now. We've hired more staff and to support our dedicated member support line, ensuring our members get adequate support in a timely fashion. We've also expanded our network presence with Peace Health, meaning that our members can see any Peace Health provider on an in-network basis, giving our members even more access to in-network providers here in Lane County. Thank you for being here, and I look forward to learning more from Mr. Cary. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Kyle, and thank you, Kaiser, for sponsoring. They're not just a supporter of small business and small business growth, they're also a big supporter of community health and wellness. And if you didn't see it when you walked in, you'll find a $5 off coupon to the Lane County Farmers Market flyers in the back on that table where you picked up your name tag. So don't forget to grab one of those on your way out. And now for Mr. Cary, the star of the show. He's a seasoned technology and marketing professional who helps business leaders turn AI from curiosity to a daily advantage. He has over 20 years of experience across all things IT. And he now focuses on making AI practical, repeatable, and scalable for small businesses and entrepreneurs. Steve also spoke at our leadership summit last year, and we're thrilled to have you back, Steve. Thank you for working with us today.
Thank you for having me. Couple of housekeeping. I just want to make sure that people virtually can see me and can hear me. If you are there, thumbs up. Perfect. I'm going to minimize my screen. For everybody here in the room and also virtually, today's going to be highly interactive. So what I'm going to ask you to do is have your computers ready, have your browser open. And if you have an account with ChatGPT or Gemini or whatever it is that you use, have two tabs open, because sometimes we're waiting for a prompt to finish. It's helpful to go to another one. That's part of my procedure. Now, if you don't have a computer with you and you're just following along, I'm going to be doing the examples on the screen as well, so you won't miss out. But part of my goal for you is to experiment and come into this with an opportunity to try things and try something that you may not know about. And that truly is how I learned everything that I know about using generative AI tools. I don't know what I don't know, but somebody else has a really innovative idea and they share it and I can emulate it. So that's what I'm hoping that you will do today with me. Okay, and I'm going to set my timer so I can stay.
And Steve, share your screen as well.
Yes, thank you very much for that. One more time. Okay, everybody can see my screen. Perfect. Okay. So we're going to do a lot in about 55 minutes. I'm going to build some time at the end for Q&A. And also during this time, if you have questions that are right on topic, let's have them, because we can build things together. I have a lot of examples that I would like to share. I won't get through them all. There's too much that we could do, but I have an agenda. We're going to keep it focused. So right away, what I do want to ask you to do is go to this URL. I try to make it as easy as possible. It's just a short survey. I'm very interested in to hear what everybody thinks about AI. And this has one question. It really is, what is your number one hope with regards to AI? What is your number one fear? And I just want to get a sense of what people are thinking. And sometimes it's helpful to get that out, because even though we might be excited on the surface, below, we might have some apprehension about really what this technology means. And I just want to get that out and open so we can take a look at it. So the link is there. If you have a phone in a room, you can just point at that QR code. It will go there too. So you can use your phone if you want. I'm going to leave it up there for just a moment. And if you guys who are using your phones, just give me a thumbs up if you get there and I'll move on. All right, good enough. I can move on. So now, the other thing I'm going to ask you to do is just on a notepad document. If you're in Windows, just open up Notepad. Same with Mac. Whatever notes you do, write down these variables: your company name or your organization name, your industry, city, location, Eugene, Springfield, whatever, rough employee count, and estimated or rough budget or revenue per year. If you're worried about sharing that type of stuff, nobody's going to see it but you. But if you just want to put a number in there that's rough to what it is that you do, that's fine. It doesn't need to be accurate, but we're going to use this as context for some of the exercises we do very quickly, and again later on during the presentation. And you'll see, like, anything inside those squiggly lines, just replace it with your stuff. And I'll just pause for just a minute or so to get that there.
So where do we do this at?
Just put it into a notepad so you can copy and paste it later.
Oh.
Yep, anywhere that you just can get to it easily. And if you don't have a computer or you're just following along for fun, I have a fictional company that I made up with all this data. So we'll use that as an example. So good enough to go on. Anybody want me to hold on for one more moment or so? All right, I will keep going. And I can remember this stuff. Okay, so here's what we're gonna cover today. 3 things. Number one, we're gonna start out, spend a little bit amount of time on just how to build good prompts. This is not a new topic, but I think it's one of those foundational skills that really matters. I've been working on generative AI type stuff since 2021, which is a long time in today's age. And there's been this topic of prompt engineering that you hear about. I personally don't like the term because engineering implies that you need to be technical, where I just think it's a skill to be learned, just like you all know how to use Outlook and PowerPoint and Excel and all the business tools that we're used to. So to me, it's just building good prompts is a foundational skill for becoming adept at using generative AI. So I'm going to spend a little bit of time on that, show a framework that we can use. And it's a lot like the metaphor of, giving somebody a fish, they'll eat for a day, but teach them how to fish, they'll eat for a lifetime. That's what a prompt foundational framework gives you, because it removes the guesswork and it makes it easy for you to go from, I have a problem, I don't know how to solve it, what do I type into AI? Having a framework that's really easy to remember and right in your back pocket removes all of that uncertainty. And you go from, I don't know what to do, to I know exactly where to start in seconds. And it's something that I use on a daily basis, even though it's in usage, it's kind of an old skill. So it's very useful. So that's one thing we're going to cover. Number 2, I'm going to show you how I build systems using a prompt library. Again, it's a simple concept with really big implications about how you do your work. And you're going to find out, we're going to be using a prompt library throughout the entire talk today. But I'm going to spend a little bit of time in the middle showing how I organize things. And why is that relevant for you? Well, because you don't know what you don't know. There's other people solving problems that might be useful to you. And you might see it online, you might hear it in a conversation, you might see it in a talk like this. You say, I like how they're using a prompt to solve a very particular problem that I didn't know you could do. I want to save that. When you have a prompt library, you can take a picture and type it out later and save it, and it's there forever. If you work on a team, you can share your prompts together and collaborate. Now you got a force multiplier. I've been using my version of this prompt library for a couple of years now, and it just changes the way I work, because I go from that idea or problem or issue to taking action in seconds. And it removes the mental clutter of uncertainty and doubt and just, I don't know where to get started. It gets me really clear on what I can do to take a next step, even if I don't know what to do. So that's part 2. Part 3 is we're going to really dive into how do we think with AI and do some bigger picture things and use AI as a thinking partner, a mentor, a collaborator, somebody who will open you up and help you think differently, or as a coach. All those things you can do. So I'll show you a few examples, and we can use your own experiences to work along with me. So none of the things that I'm going to show you today are intended for me just to do. I'm hoping that you'll grab these prompts as I go and you'll start experimenting with them in this very short 1-hour window that we have. And I'm going to show you how easy that is. So first of all, another link to go to, but this is the prompt library. You'll notice I made the URL really easy. It's today's date. Happens to be the anniversary for my wife and I too. So yeah, it's 26 years. But that URL will open up to this. And this is a copy of a generic prompt library that I create, and I just add more prompts to it as I go. So as I've been preparing for this talk today, I've been adding my prompts in here. Now, don't worry about how to use it. We're going to learn as we go on this. I just want to make sure that you can get to this screen. And then number 2, you can do this now or during the talk or later on. But up here, there's a little icon for copying it. If you want to duplicate this and save it for yourself, that's available. And there's also a link that you can get later. So you can do it now or later. But this is a product based off of, the product is called Notion. And I created this prompt library in that product. It's free. So you can create an account. If you already use it, it's really easy. But if you don't have an account with Notion, if you want to duplicate this and use it for yourself and edit it and add things to it, you'll be asked to create an account in Notion. Now you can do that later on. The links are in this presentation, but that's how you get to make it your own. So I just want to cover a couple things about that. But we're going to walk through this as we go. So just know that it's here and we're going to use it to make life easy. Okay, so back to my presentation. This is really to keep me focused and on track. Okay, so here's a couple of the survey responses. I'm just want to look at a few of these. Virtual assistant, want to do more with less. Fear of sharing incorrect information. People want to be more efficient and creative. Art and music. Oh, worried about art and music marginalized by auto creation. True. Accuracy of information. Want to be relevant in my workspace. I love that answer. I think this is more important. Thanks for putting your name down, Kelly. Where are you? Maybe online too. I think that's really relevant.
I'm online. Yep.
Good to have you. Good to have you participating. Okay, I won't go through all these. I just wanted to see some of these. To be as good as my younger employees. I want to highlight that for a second because that illustrates that there's a concern that you have to be young or tech savvy or good at computers or one of those things. And I really hope to dispel that myth today. I think using generative AI is a tool and a skill that does not require tech skills. But the way that it's been communicated from the scientists, the data scientists that have built this is highly technical. But as users, we don't need to know that. It's really as easy as talking and getting some routines and practice. Yeah, terrified of AI replacing expertise, hopeful of making things easier. Okay, thank you for filling this out. I just want to share that because these are real concerns and some of them are very personal and they're all relevant. Okay, the reason that I came up with this workshop, I recorded a version that's very similar online, is that I've been hearing all these same things. I heard some of it today. I should be doing something with AI, but I don't know where to start. I get too busy and I know I should be using AI to help me with this, but I don't have time to figure out how to use AI to do this. So then I got to go do my actual work. That means that you maybe don't have a routine. What if I fall behind? Even I have that fear and I try to stay if it's moving too fast. Tried it, but I'm not sure if I was doing it right. Where do I even start? So this is stuff that I hear all the time. And that's what I want to use this opportunity to reframe. And this is kind of the last of my preemptive slides, and I'll go into the actual doing things. But I would just want to reframe the goal. It's really not about learning AI. Don't need to be tech. It's about using it as a tool to do things in a smarter way, to give you leverage, personal leverage, to perform better in your work, to be more creative, to be able to do things you didn't know how to do. That's my personal favorite. And focus on outcomes and impact. What can you do with your time and your mind and your actions and your ability to affect the world? I think when you look at that, that's far different than writing a better email. So there's a bigger picture. That's why I get excited about this. All right, so we're going to do right off the bat, kind of a big picture strategic planning exercise. And what I would like you to do, so you filled out the information about your business earlier. So have that ready to copy and paste. What I'm going to do is go over to the prompt library, and then right at the top, I have this button up here. It's called Strategic Implications of the One Big Bill Act. We all know what that is. Well, actually, I take that back. We've heard of it.
Yeah.
Very few of us, including myself, really know what it is because there's just been too much noise. But it's, in fact, signed into law. So whether we like it, love it, hate it, doesn't matter. It's going to have an implication. So what I'd like you to do is right here in this prompt, where it says prompt, there's a little button on the right side. It says copy what this is gonna do, if you hit copy, you can copy and paste this whole thing in one easy swoop. But see where it says inputs down here? That's where you're gonna replace the information about your business. I'll show you how I do that. So I made up this business here called Cascadia Timbercraft. It's a really made up business, doesn't exist, but it's kind of represented what you might see. Yes.
Tell me how you back to that. I never found a note in the site.
Oh, I'm sorry. To this here.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Let me, so the question from the room is how do we get back to the prompt library? Let me just
Yes. Yeah, so we didn't get
go back.
it long enough for.
Yeah.
Right there.
Thanks.
So you want us to log in now?
Yep. Just this, what this will do is, as I'm showing you a prompt, this will allow you to copy the prompt and put it into AI without typing it. So that's my goal, is to save a bunch of time. I hope that there's very little typing today, except for making it personal to you. And if at any moment this gets daunting or just like too much or too fast, I'll go through the example that I'm gonna use and show you. And we can come back to this, well, you can go back to it later on your own. And if you can't get into it, that's okay. I really wanted to use this as a kind of an eye opener, because this legislation is something that's going to impact all of us as business owners, leaders, executives. And if you don't know how it's going to impact you, let's find out. Yeah. Do you mind if I go back to the library? Is that okay?
We're ready.
All right. So for those who are just getting in, there's a little button up here. It's a shortcut under favorites. And this is just a prompt. This is how I organize them. And sometimes I change it to from the side to the middle, so it opens up and it's easier to see. And the exercise here is to replace this section that says inputs with the information that you developed earlier about your business or organization. So I'm going to take my made up company called Cascadia Timbercraft, and I'm just gonna copy it in there. Oh, I forgot. Why is it not working for me? Always something that slows you down. Okay, so I'm gonna do it separately. So in my other screen, I'm gonna go over to ChatGPT. And if you have a pro account, this will work, like a paid account. If you have a free account, it may not work, but I'm using a specific model. This is model 03. So we are going from start of this conversation to something complex, but I want to use this as a way to show you like there's some power here. So I'm gonna copy and paste in the prompt. Then I'm gonna go back to the other screen because it wasn't working the way I wanted to. And I'm gonna go copy my inputs and go back, and then I'll paste it here. This should work. Okay, it does. So just to recap what I just did. I took this fairly lengthy prompt here and I pasted it in the ChatGPT, and I replaced this section here under inputs with the information about this company name. Now I'm going to go back and just hit enter. Now, for those of you who are doing this along, when you use this 03 model, it's one of the more advanced ones that will go out and search the internet and it will do some analysis. This takes a moment, so I'm not going to wait for it to go through. And that's why I wanted all of you to have two tabs open so you could do something else, and we'll come back to it. But you'll see that it's searching the web and it's going to some sites. It's going to come back with a huge amount of information. And I'm going to go ahead and cut to the chase and just give you an idea of what that looks like. It's when I did this earlier before this meeting today, I had a huge amount of output, but what I asked it to do is based off of my fictional business, number of employees, revenue, and so on, and location, and the type of products I do, give me the relevant impacts and implications of what this bill will do for my company.
Hmm.
And in addition to the implications, what are the opportunities, and especially the opportunities that may not be highly visible? And also present it in a way where it's on a scheduled rollout, because this bill just doesn't turn on everything immediately. It rolls out over time. And when you look at this, it gives you a summary, a lot of information about, as an executive, what should I be thinking about with respect to my business? There are a lot of implications about what this bill will do. And some of them are direct consequences and implications, some of them are indirect, and there's a lot of opportunities. And I wanted to start out with this because this is a deep way to use generative AI to help us and help us think through something that we probably don't have time or energy or resources to think through outside of a Monday meeting with the executive team that might last for 2 hours, and then you go on to the business of the day. So this is just one way that we can use AI to help us tackle something big that's maybe not top of our mind, but probably needs to be, but we don't have the bandwidth to do it. Yes.
So I have the free version and
Yeah.
actually how it might, it still gave me, it seems like a pretty good answer, but can you explain like the difference, I guess, between like the free version? Is it not searching the internet enough? Is it just giving you what it thinks is the answer?
It's more than what it thinks. It is searching, and for everybody online who may not be able to hear the question, is if you have the free version and you did the exercise, what's the difference in the output versus the free version and the paid version? You're probably going to get some decent information, but this O3 model is an advanced model that's included with the paid ones, and it's going to give you a much more robust analysis. It's going to give you citations for where it found the information. So that speaks back to, can I trust it? And you'll see in this output, it's really long. And it took a long time, but it'll show you sources and things like that. That's the big difference. There's more and more that's always becoming available in the free version. And then usually what happens is it'll tell you, hey, you're done using it for the day. Come back tomorrow or sign up for a pro version. So it's going to give you a little snapshot into it. The pro versions are going to give you a deeper analysis, allow you to do more with it, and you won't run out of your free usage. So, and that's a general answer, but it changes all the time. So, but I wanted to share that with you. Go ahead.
So if that pro version, you have access to all those models?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, and I subscribe to ChatGPT, Anthropic, Gemini, and some also on the API side. So I try to use them all.
Can you explain what the different models are? What is that all about? What's the purpose?
Sure. I'll try to keep it brief because they change all the time. Now, the easiest way to think about it, chat in the world of ChatGPT and also with the other providers, they usually have one really good all-purpose language model that's trained on a huge number of data inputs. And for ChatGPT, that's its 4.0 model at the top. It's kind of your daily driver. It just does about everything. But they had some other ones that are like O3, advanced reasoning. It's going to take a lot longer to give you an output. So speed goes down, but quality of output goes up, and it does a lot of research. These mini and mini high, difficult to tell you everything, but some of them are just faster. And it really makes a difference if you're using these in a programmatic way through API, because then you're doing it pay per usage. And some of these language models that you use through that are cheaper per use. So that they're still like pennies, but that's the big picture answer. But if you went over to Claude and looked at their models, they have Sonnet 4, Opus 4, Sonnet 4, and they have more models too. And Google Gemini also has their similar confusingly worded models. I think it's helpful to know that there's always a standard one that's all purpose. They're changing all the time. And they have different models that are a little bit more specialized for speed or a specific type of task. Okay, so what I'd like to do is move on a little bit. I just wanted to show you that because that's an eye opener. That's how you can, as a leader or an executive or a business owner, use AI to start thinking through deep, big problems that you don't have access to the information or may not have it at that time. All right, let's get to the next one. Okay, so I talked about prompt frameworks. So this is a part where we're going to talk about how can I just come up with a standard way of creating a prompt that I can use repeatedly over and over and over. So it's always easy for me to make a prompt. So this is a method that I, with the help of AI, came up with. It's not unique, it's not novel, it's easy to use and easy to remember and effective. So there's lots of models that have the same type of framework for context, assign a role to it, and things like that. So I'm not saying mine is better, mine's just easy to remember. And if it works for you, use it. That's what I do. But the reason this is important when you're building a prompt, all of these type of bits of information matters. And I feel like when you set the scene by providing AI with context about what you're trying to solve or the situation or any contextual information about what you're doing, really important. When you tell AI that I want you to act as a expert in XYZ, financial services expert, sales leader expert, marketing expert, I want you to act as a franchise owner for Papa Murphy's Pizza. You can do that. It will inherit and assume that role. It's really powerful. I want you to help me learn math. That's a role. Example, we get frustrated when we see outputs that don't look like what we want. Help me write this email. Who was I talking to? Always had the M dashes. Back there, yeah. We're talking about marketing output and like we got to edit it so there's no M dashes. Well, show AI. Here's an example of what I want the output to emulate and put hyphens instead of M dashes. Or even make a note. Avoid M dashes. Here's what my output should look like. Commas. Audience. Who is this intended for? Sometimes it's important, sometimes it's not. If it's just for you, it doesn't matter. If I'm writing official communications for an audience, and I'm going to show this example a little bit, but the chamber is a really good example of this. You have business owners in your community and your members, and you're also involved in advocacy. So your audience might be in the legislature. Very different audiences. So who are you writing for? AI now knows the context and who this needs to be written for in a way that they understand. Or write it in a high school reading level so it's simple and easy to understand. Not so it's dumbed down, just so avoid big clumsy words. And then your task. Here's what I want you to do. And sometimes, like, I want the output to look like X. I want it to be in bullet point format. I want it to be 2 sentences long. I want it to be in paragraphs with headings. So those are all examples of this create framework. When you start writing prompts like this, now it kind of seems like a lot as I'm talking through this, and I'm going to show you how to make this far, far easier. But when you have this little method in your head, the create framework, instead of just saying, help me write an email, blah, 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 start thinking through all these different elements and try to include as many as you can. Your outputs are going to fundamentally improve dramatically. And if you want to make some changes, you can change some of the things in here. You can change the role, you can change the example. You can even tell it to adopt a different type of tone in your examples. So there's a lot of power in this. And you don't have to use every one of these variables, but the more you get in the habit of doing, you'll notice that your prompting improves. So I want to just go through some examples. So I'm going to go back to my prompt library, and up here on this button on the top, there's a button called Create Prompt Framework. And my goal is to make it easy. So you can just come in here and you can copy this or look at it and have it as a reference tool. And then I've just put some examples up here that you can use right now. And now what I'd like to invite you to do is think of a task or a business problem or something that you need to work on. And, pick one of these prompts and just play with it. One I know that everybody does is everybody has a meeting. Everybody hosts meetings, they have to come up with an agenda. That is an example of something that if you're under duress or doing a lot of things or you're busy, the last thing that you really want to do is make an agenda for a meeting, but you know you have to, and it usually takes 10 to 15 minutes. Or you copy and paste a template from last week's meeting, and it's a slightly different version. Those are type of habitual things that we do. But if you want to make your own meeting builder, you can just take a prompt like this, and this is a general one I made, but you could change some of these things. I would still keep it, the role the same, but this example might be different than the one I have here. But where I would focus on changing the most is in the task, because then you can put a little bit of context about what the meeting's gonna cover. We're gonna cover in this meeting the annual budget, and we have to make some tough decisions about things, line items that we may not have the budget to fully meet, so we're gonna reduce some of those. That could be part of what you put in here. And the way that I use my prompt library is I just take some of these examples, and maybe if I need to modify it, you can click anywhere in here. I'm just gonna click that line. I don't know why it's, oh, I know why. I know why this wasn't working. I'm in the template version, not the writing one. That's why it wasn't working earlier. That's when you're talking and doing things at the same time. So now I can edit. So if I wanted to modify one of these, I could just, just right here and then paste that below. And then instead of this, budget meeting tough cuts, identify. And that might be the meeting, but I'm just gonna copy this, go back, and I'm gonna go to my other ChatGPT, and I'm gonna make sure I go back to GPT 4.0 model, that's the fast one. And if I just add this in there, it's gonna build me an agenda for a meeting. Simple. But why this works is I had the prompt created, that was the easy part. It was already there, I didn't have to make it up. But it's a good prompt. It has all the information about how to create an agenda. And so when you start thinking about what can I make and reuse, it removes that burden of I don't know how to use AI. It removes that moment of I don't know where to start, or I've got something that's I'm really busy. I don't have time to figure this out. That's why these methods work so well. So that's the create model. Now I realized that just as I foresaw, like time is flying by. So I'm going to keep moving. But what I want to show you is that in this, just this one page, I have all these different prompt examples that use the create method. And you can modify these, and they're just easy for you to emulate. So I'm going to move on.
I have a quick question.
Sure.
Steve, so in our own personal, not in your wonderful resource library, but in our own ChatGPT, where would you save those or do you even need to?
Where would I save it?
Yeah, the prompt library.
I don't save it in ChatGPT. I use an external system.
Okay,
And here's why though, because I use multiple different platforms. So I know that you have an enterprise account with ChatGPT. I use this external system because I found it to be the fastest.
okay.
So I started out in Notepad, went to Excel sheets, I went to Google Docs, I went to another product called Airtable. The reason I use Notion is because it has these blocks here. Well, it's visual, so I'm a visual person. And it's easy for me to hit this button that says copy
So it's the best.
and I can modify it. So that's why I did it. And now it may not always be the right reason for you, but
So it's Notion and it's a free subscription.
Yep.
At least for now.
yep. And it should be because their business model is really based off of organizations that have multiple people that need to be logged in. But for an individual user or even one person who is in charge of maintaining it, it's free and it's super simple to use.
So you create them in Notions and save them,
Yeah,
and then you copy them into.
ChatGPT. Yes, that's right. Yeah. And again, I do more than that because I have automations. That's outside the scope, but that's how I start my problem solving. When I have a new thing, like I don't know how to do it, I start with building a prompt like this. And I go right into ChatGPT and I said, let's explore. Okay. So I showed you that, and I'm gonna skip over this slide, but the main thing here is that sometimes our prompts need to be super precise and sometimes it can be more open-ended. So the more deterministic the outcome needs to be, it's more on the right side. And the more you just need open-ended information, it's like a conversation. I kept this here just to show you that there's no right way that you have to do these. Convenience and speed, I think, are the biggest drivers of what makes this work. So back to your question, Bonnie, like, why do I do this? Because it's fast for me and I don't have to overthink it. And I know where to find everything because I forget things. There's too much moving too fast. Okay, so we talked about prompts and I've showed you this prompt library, and I'm going to show you a little bit more because if you start using this, start to see the power of this. And I won't spend too much on this, but below these top two, I just put those up there for convenience. You'll see that they're under this favorites area. But in this version of prompt library, I've got things organized by what I call companies, because I work with a lot of different companies, but this could be changed, or by department. You could organize them by tags, and things like that. So this is really, if you decide to make this, copy this and make your own version of it, you could change some of these. But I have a bunch of prompts in here by company, and I put them all under, these are made up companies, obviously. Where did it go? Oh, Chamber of Commerce. So I've got a bunch of prompts here under Chamber of Commerce. That's where I put a lot of these examples. And I wanted to show this example of something that I was inspired by you, Paige. And then I was thinking about the type of writing that you have to do or put your signature on. And this is a problem that's common to everybody. And the problem is, how do I write? Sorry, I'm clicking around a lot, so I'm going to get out there. How do I write something where the output adheres to my brand voice and style? So maybe we don't want M dashes, but maybe there's a very clear brand style that our organization has, like look and feel of written documents. So I built that in here. I have a under communications director, and I also have a brand voice and style guide. So there's two parts, and here's what I wanted to get through on this prompt library. You can write an individual prompt, or you can combine elements together. So here's what I mean by that. So here's a style guide that I made up right here. And you could copy this and make it your own with a few changes. But Paige had an example the other day where she said, well, sometimes we'll get some information from the marketing team, but it's really tailored in a marketing voice, and I need to change it to advocacy. Yet the voice of the chamber probably is very consistent across all your stakeholders, but the role that you have as an individual in this organization, the content will change and the tone will shift. And so I made this style guide to allow for the different types of roles within an organization. So I have advocacy, I have marketing, and so you'll see in this brand voice and style guide, there's just a lot of very good general stuff. Clear, confident, approachable, professional, purpose-driven. And then here's some role-based adaptation, advocacy and policy communications, marketing and member engagement, and then exec communication. You could add more. And I have some examples underneath each of these. So I made a brand and voice guide. Now, how do we apply that if we're going to write something? Well, I have another prompt under here. It's called communications director. So I'm pretending that I'm in charge of communications for an organization like a Chamber of Commerce. And I made a prompt, and you'll see here, it follows the create model. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy, I've got an example down here that was kind of fun. What I did, so it's setting the tone for context and role and example. And down at the bottom where my request is, I wanted to say, hey, there's a bill in legislature that we're opposed to.
I know that.
Yeah, I know. That is- So I'm going to, I'm gonna go ahead and copy this. And then I'm just gonna go to, new prompt. I'm gonna copy this. Now I'm gonna add something though, because that's the prompt. I'm gonna add that voice and style guide. And now I saved that style guide as a text document just because I knew I needed it quickly available for me while I'm talking. We don't have to do it that way, but that's what I did. So attached is a branding style guide. In the prompt, it says, reference my style guide. And what I'm asking it to do is draft a letter in opposition to this. I think it's the Senate Bill 174. And again, what I'm showing here is that you can use a brand and style guide with a prompt to produce a really strong version of communications that is realistic of something you would use. And when I did this practicing yesterday, I actually saw one of the letters that had your signature on it. I don't know who wrote it, maybe all of you, but that's important work. But here you go, you have something that's probably 90% good. It's a time saver. And my thinking on this is this doesn't replace the work that you all do. It enables you to engage in a really serious business. Well, I mean, that might be an initial reaction, like, oh, wow, if I don't need Paige to write these emails, what did you do? Well, the serious business is the relationships. Yeah, this is stuff that has to get done, but it does take time. And it's difficult to scale. So this is an example of how you can create output using the voice and style guide. And it's an example of how a prompt library makes that easy. So I just start chaining things together. So it's my way of creating a system. Okay, so I'm gonna keep moving quick. Is everybody okay with my pace? Because I'm really trying to get to the last bits without running out of time. So we're on the third section of how do we leverage AI to think along as a partner? Now, the opening example that we did with the One Big Beautiful Bill Act is an example of thinking with AI. And it's kind of a flashy way of demonstrating that from the get-go. But I want to show you some other examples. Now, I've got this up here for reference, but this is something that I have used and it's very powerful. And the thing that I'm going to show you is one of the things that I think is the most critical thing a business leader can be good at, and that is communicating with stakeholders, direct reports, other executives, managers, leaders, or customers. And one problem, and I've had this as a challenge in my career, is my personality type. This is me, type 7. I think everybody loves this, but it's not true. And if you work in sales, there's a lot of people in leadership who are numbers driven. They might be any number of these other ones, but they're often type 3, but they needed something much more specific and action oriented than I was giving them. So I learned that the hard way. But sorry about that. I created this prompt. And really the context is if you're preparing for a conversation with somebody else and you want to be able to communicate effectively with them, so you are heard by them, and then you can prepare yourself to hear them as well in a way that aligns with both of your personality types. This is a prompt that will help you do that. And the way that I did this, there's only a couple of variables that you change in here. I put my personality type in down here, and it could be Myers-Briggs, it could be Enneagram, it could be any type of description that you know about, but I've taken a lot of these, so I know where I fit. And then if you know the personality type of the other person, or if you want to guess, and that's why I have this, you can guess, and then you can run this prompt to help you solve a very serious problem. And so let's see if well, anyway, I'm not going to do this one as an example because I want to keep on focus, but this is something I highly recommend any of you who are preparing for any type of meeting that you're going into. Try this out. If you don't know the other person's personality, guess. Just use the Enneagram as a way to typecast somebody, even if you're wrong. I've used this to great effect because it helps me level up and helps me present myself at a much better level. So I look at this as a tool to help me operate at a higher level than I was before. And I had a meeting with somebody who I just met briefly. This was last fall. And I knew a little bit about them and they shared a little bit about their personality type. So I knew this going in, but I use this. How do I prepare for my lunch meeting with this person? And I learned that, oh, we're dramatically different personality styles. And I can easily get caught up in concept and visions and big ideas. And this person was not going to have that. So within 2 minutes of how you doing? Here's the menu. We went right into the topic and I knew that was going to happen and I was prepared. It turned out to be highly productive. Had I not gone through this exercise, I probably would have gone in with my big ideas and excitement, and it would have been okay, but it would not have been as good as the conversations we had because I was prepared to meet that person at their level. And formerly, I was a VP of sales marketing at a company, I had a lot of direct reports. I wish I had this, both for managing up, but especially managing down. I missed a lot of opportunities. This allows you to prepare to have tough and difficult conversations and meaningful and productive ones as well. So that's an example of how can I use AI to think with me and become my partner, my mentor, and help me operate at a different level than what I would have been doing on autopilot. Okay, so let's go to another example. Okay. We're gonna move on because I got only a few minutes left. Okay. One of the challenges that most people have is, well, how in the heck do I use, where do I use AI in my business? How do I identify opportunities? This is a method that you could use to start thinking through, how can I use AI? Tasks that are manual, repetitive, rules-based, and time-consuming tasks. Now, keep that in the back of your mind for a second, because we're gonna do one more thing. I have here, if you want to follow along, I have a custom GPT that I wrote that makes it easy for you to create prompts on the fly without typing all that stuff out. So before I showed you, like, here's the framework for creating a prompt. This is a kind of a pre-built prompt that will create prompts for you, if that makes sense. And it's called a custom GPT. And for those of you who may not be familiar with a custom GPT, all it is it's a product within ChatGPT where you can create a template for a prompt and reuse it all the time. So if I go back here, and I'm just going to copy this, open up a new one. And it's going to open right back into ChatGPT, but you'll see I've got a little logo here. And what this is designed to do is you can speak to it in natural language and say, I need to write a prompt about XYZ problem. And it's going to create a prompt for you in that framework that we already talked about, the create method. And I'm going to show you some examples because I did make some. So here's some ideas. So I talked about how do I identify use cases for ROI? And I just wrote here, I actually used my microphone and I just spoke to my computer and said, I need to write a prompt to help me identify use cases. And I specifically told it to write it in such a way that I can use the MRRT method, things that are manual, repetitive, rules-based, time-consuming. I just need a prompt to help me sort through that. And I also told it to make some assumptions about ROI calculations. Now, I haven't tested this out yet, so we're going to do this. So, but this is what you see on this text is me just talking to my screen with the microphone on, and it's all right there. I don't know how good it is. But back here in this, I'm just going to paste it in because it already says, I want to create a prompt. This already knows to create the prompt in that framework we talked about. So I'll hit go. And it's going to build me a prompt for this. Now, the reason I wanted to show this is because you can use this, it's freely available, it's there. Now you know what the method, why it's important, why it's useful. Now we save time, so we don't actually have to write out prompts. And the reason this to me is such a good example of thinking with AI is because it speaks to that problem of I don't know where to start, I've got other things to do. If you go to a tool like this and just go in there on your phone, on your computer and speak to it, write me a prompt that will help me solve this problem. And just brain dump out. It's going to create a prompt in this create framework. And you got a very good baseline prompt that is more than good enough. There's certainly going to be ways to make it more strong and improve it, but this is going to get you like an 80% good prompt or better every time. Saves you a ton of time, takes you from that moment of indecision and frustration because I got other work to do, and gets you right in the thick of it. Now you can go start to solve things. So now you can use this prompt, and I haven't even read through it. I'm just going to copy it. And let's just test it out. And we'll do. I'm just going to copy it in there and job role. Who wants a volunteer job role? Anybody? All right.
Senior Director of Advocacy and Economic Development.
Oh, what was the first part?
Senior Director of Advocacy and Economic Development.
I'm not going to fix my typo. And I'm going to give you a generous salary of 120K.
Slow.
Thanks, sir.
Anyway, it can go deeper. The way I would use this is I would actually put in a job description or something a little bit more robust about here's a day in the life of, but it's going to take that title and make a lot of assumptions. I've seen people take titles off of LinkedIn and job searching and use that as a way, but we've come up with a lot of opportunities. You know, here are your assumptions. Things that you typically do. And I'm going to stop saying you. One in your position typically does this. Here's some AI opportunities. So tracking legislation, drafting memos, position papers, we already covered that. Grant proposal assistance. That's another one. Stakeholder meeting summaries and data analysis. Now, I agree with those, especially grant proposal assistance. I know that's a typical thing, meeting summaries and position papers. I'm just going to go back to this. I have, I think I have in here some of those prompts to write. Well, I think I put it in the create prompt framework. I put some examples of, here's a really lightweight prompt for grant proposal draft generator where you could start at. But the idea is like, here's an opportunity for using AI to help somebody in their role to leverage what they do already and free up their time. And so I'm always trying to think of ways, how can I solve the things that are holding us back from using AI and get us there faster? All right. There's so much more I want to share. We're at 12:58. I want to honor the time for everybody who's online. And if there's a question from the online crowd, we can jump in and do it.
There is one.
Okay, and I'm happy to stay around afterwards, after we cut off the time at the end.
So Karen online asked, out of the ChatGPT or any of the AI models, is there one that is best for reports and graphs, for example?
Good question. I don't know, because I think the answer changes month to month. So I don't know. I would answer that I believe, in my experience, how I use ChatGPT, it's very good at numerical reasoning, and I haven't used it to create charts and graphs. So probably good enough. I don't know about Anthropic. One of those two is where I would start. Now, if I took the same question and said, what's best for writing code. Both of them are good, but Anthropic, the company, has positioned themselves and invested to be recognized and positioned as a code creator. So they've created more tools within their suite for software development. So that's one of the things to pay attention to. So the answer changes month to month. So any of them that you pay for a subscription is gonna be good. All right, so I'm going to follow up with a request to everybody is do these things. Walk away from here with an AI first mindset. Get in the habit of going to AI first to solve problems, start projects, whatever it is that you're trying to do. Go there first and use AI every day for 10 minutes. Even if you've got a lot to do, don't know where to start, every day for 10 minutes, you will find that you'll save an hour per day every time you get into it. And then there are no experts in AI. There are only people who spend more time in it. So you do not need to be technical. You do not need to be a computer scientist. You do not need to be a developer. Anybody and everybody can leverage this. You do not need specialized skills or knowledge. You need time and effort, a curious mind, and a willingness to try. And what you had. And that's it. If you want to connect with me, I have some information up here. If you scan that, it'll drop you a V card. I have a YouTube channel. My email's up there. And I'll leave it at that. No shameless self promo, but I hope this is useful to everybody here. And if you have any questions as a follow up, feel free to connect with me directly and happy to answer it. And I just thank you for your time and attention. And I wish we had more time, but here we are. One out.
Steve, I just want to thank you, not just for being here with us today, but for the incredible amount of work that you put into creating this resource library for us to access. Not only did we learn how to create prompts today, but we have some to kick us off with. So really, really appreciate your time and highly recommend anybody who wants to get in touch with Steve and make this a much longer conversation to reach out. Thank you. Thank you for being here.
You are welcome.
Debbie has a quick
So,
question.
Is this all of the things he showed today? Are we getting a link to that?
Great, we'll send a follow-up email out next week. This was recorded. We'll share out the recording. It'll be live on our Small Business Solutions Hub webpage as soon as we get it uploaded and cut. And we'll include some of those links that were in here so that you guys have easy access to
So the
them.
ones he put up, I couldn't get quick enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll dig those out.
I'll convert this presentation into a PDF and those links will be in it. So
Okay.
what you walk away with is everything that you saw here today, that prompt library, you can duplicate it. I'm not gonna do anything, make it go away, at least in the next year. I might forget about it if something happens, but yeah, it's all for you. And I hope if you use any of this stuff and you have feedback, good, bad, or maybe, I'd love to hear about it.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, well, we will see you guys, hopefully back here next Tuesday. We have a roundtable program on the, City of Springfield Fiscal Stability Task Force, with our mayor, Sean Gordon. So hopefully you'll be joining us at 4 o'clock next Tuesday. Otherwise, thank you all for coming. Thanks again to our sponsors who made today possible.
Thank you.